So you're saying this guy on YouTube?
Yeah, the guy on YouTube, man, he does body tissue massage, and like you go in and you hear these people like screaming for their life, like they about to die. And it's just crazy because it's intriguing because you hear people just in pain. You know, it's kind of messed up to think that way, but it's just interesting because you have all these type of people come on, and the worst is the foot massage. That is the worst.
So what? So people do this voluntarily? So they literally?
Because usually they'll have like back issues or they'll have foot issues, soreness, and everything like that. And so they go to him to help them, and it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy.
Does it? Well, I'm guessing it yields results. I hope, or they just go. Is it just helping on the basis of, well, you think you know pain? No, this is pain, kind of thing.
Basically, yeah.
that's some next level anime shit to be there. To be honest with you, dog, man, for real. There's like I think that there's in certain cases there's a need for stuff, and then in others it's like, okay, are you all right there, son? Like, to be fair.
And it's crazy. It'd be like these tall, muscle-bound dudes, and like you hear the screams that come out of their mouth. You just like it's just crazy, man. But it's just crazy what you can find on YouTube, man, when you're just in your little box, what you call it, home, and you just tune into different things. So it was just crazy. This is one of my hidden pleasures.
Well, it's like someone was saying on another was doing a video course. It's like they call it the black hole of YouTube because they know what they're doing, man. Like same way with Instagram, same with Facebook. Like they all know. It's if they haven't been there for a while, you better believe they got your scrolling time. Because my cousin just recently joined for business purposes on Instagram, and he hasn't never like looked into it at all. And he's just like, yeah, before I blink, an hour or 2 hours gone. Because I'm just literally been scrolling. And I said, that's exactly how it's designed, bro. Like, it's absolutely, this is the age that we're into now. They've got us down to an exact science. And with that, welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of the No Name Podcast. So this is technically supposed to be episode 5, but it's now episode 4/5, or we'll just call it 4 for the sake of it, because of technical difficulties, my problems. Should have checked the microphone. Naughty DJ mistake, very immature, but you're back with Jay, Uncle Juju St. Paul. Yeah, officially an uncle. So I'm thinking maybe changing that a little bit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I got a cigar, man.
Send me some what?
A cigar.
A cigar. Just send me a couple packs of Black and Milds, man. I'll be down for that 100%. Some flavors.
What's your favorite flavor?
Well, at least get me original, and then I'll leave the rest to you. As long as it ain't nothing too obscure and funky. But yeah, man, I appreciate that. I'll try. Maybe in the future, I'll light one up when I'm in a position to do so for the podcast, and we'll smoke that through that. Maybe a little bit of like, whiskey or a little brandy, as they do. To the world. But anyways, yeah. So we're back here live in effect. I'm joined once again by the one and only Ish.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Ish. I'm the dude behind the other dude, behind the other dude, behind the other dude. Also, you know, I got the dad is not a noun thing. It's dedicated to men of color and fatherhood. The IG page, also have the podcast. Check that out. Great interviews, all that great content.
Dope. And as usual, this is in a collaboration with High Creativity. That's my thing. So make sure you just go check out the website. Also, as well, we've got big news just on that highlight there for that plug, just to say right there.
Yes,
got mine. And yeah, so officially, because this is powered by IAmHipHop, this is the magazine which is now out in the UK. Sorry, lighting isn't as great as it could be. You can check that out on highcreativity.net as well, so you can go cop a copy if you're in the UK at the moment, where we're delivering them. Digital copies will be available soon, and they are going for £2.50 with a £2 delivery charge. Yes, we are plugging. This isn't a paid promotion. I did all of this. You see that right there? That's the company. We out here, baby. Did all of this. Right, this is me, my skills. This is me. Yeah. All right.
So, brother, what's your favorite part of the magazine?
What's my if I'm gonna be honest, this is my favorite part. Where are we at? There you go. By Jay Juju St. Paul, my article right there. But yeah, forgive and forget. Bun the biggin. The pagans do not get nothing. You're pagan. But no, I have to say, like in a
Renaissance man, you are my brother. You are a Renaissance man.
This is well, I appreciate it. I don't have my beret and as such at the moment, but I always carry a pen rather than a paintbrush. I don't know, like when it kind of comes, because I've worked with this so closely and I've seen the amount of effort that everyone's put into this, considering that all of the contributors of this this magazine, this production, we're doing this all off our own back. There is no one's getting paid for any of this. So thank you very much to the whole writing team. Enough love out to Rishma. Shout out to Raja Kumari on the front. I mean, we even had, to make sure to give everybody their props. Patrick Hutchinson as well. If you guys don't know who he is, and well, you should do if you're in that viral scene. He's the guy that saved through the BLM, put that white dude over his shoulder and carried the guy out. Fireman carried him. I mean, even we've got just so many different great writers, throughout the whole thing. So I'd say, if anything, the whole thing's my favorite. I'm gonna be biased really, and I'm gonna be one of those types, because we've even had Asim C, who's also known as Chabadi G, was known as Chabadi G, the comedian, but he wants to kind of pull away from all of that. We also had the passing of Ty Joki, which was, heartbreaking to everybody at the end of the week. So shout out to you guys in Global Faction. I don't know, man. I think my favorite part of the magazine is actually seeing it, actually physically seeing it. So once again, you guys can find it on highcreativity.net. Just go to the partners, or you can click onto shop, go to the IAmHipHop collection. You may even pick yourself up some IAmHipHop merches. We've got t-shirts, we've got hoodies, crop tops for the ladies, and you've also got all my good stuff as well. So now that I've unshamelessly and unceremoniously plugged all of that stuff at the beginning, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, we're taking a bit more of a professional attitude to this. Also, make sure you ring that notification bell, so when we release, we always generally try to release something every week. That is our target. That's what we're doing. This is why we're here. So thank you very much to Ish for, taking your time as usual. Unfortunately, no stats today. We hope he's okay. Couldn't reach out to him, but, he'll be with us again in the future. So what's going on with you, Ish, man? How's your week been?
Not much, man. Good, man. Today, is International Women Day. In the States, is our Women History Month. So I want to touch on what woman inspires you as we celebrate International Women Day as well as Women History Month. So what woman, dead or alive, that influenced you?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna have to tread on this one carefully, man, because some people will get on my neck, because when anyone is watching this, man, there's only one that's important. See, it depends on what your relationship's been like with that one, with the one I was saying, so we'll leave that one at that. Women who have inspired me, who have been dead or alive. Do you know, the one is definitely my grandmother, on the Grenadian Trinity side, or should we say on the Black Hand side? Yeah, that's a nice way to say it, on the Black Hand side. Even though she passed away, in the 90s, so I only had not as much time with her as growing up. But from someone who, came over from the Caribbean during that whole Windrush situation, when, even with my grandfather, and everything she did to get to, the level she did, to educating herself, and later on in life, the fact she was always helping out people in the community, was someone who was kind of, very strong, especially more in the sense of the aftermath of the stories. There's things that you don't hear, because, she's obviously not around to, to tell her own tale. So that's why we said, like we said on the previous episode, make sure you give people your soup and flowers. But just in a sense of especially considering the house that she used to live in and we used to have, it's like a mansion. It wasn't a mansion, but you consider, if you're coming from a standardized house, especially in the UK, and then going into this place where you can literally, it just seems like it's 3 levels, and the garden, and it's just kind of this own little wonderland with stuff as well. This is kind of people I can't believe you don't know so many people, but I would say it's in a sense of inspiring. I'm gonna be corny, okay? Yeah, this isn't a get out of jail. This ain't a get out of jail free card. But I'm generally gonna say that I'm never gonna put one in particular, because like myself, I look into a whole bunch of people and look for inspirations in so many different spaces, right? But I can say from people that women have inspired me, who've pushed through and gone through some serious adversity. I'd have to shout out my friend Hodge. Haji Ruprai, like, love you to pieces on. Gotta say, my friend Anna Maria, who's been there for me thick and thin. She's got, and these women have gone through serious stuff, and still, bouncing about. I've got a shout out to Lianka Levy, who I've met recently, and some of the amazing artwork that she's producing. And also look out for that as well, ladies and gentlemen. Not lying to you, and to any pronoun that you choose to be called, we'll keep it blanket. That stuff's going to be available soon as well on the High Creativity. She's just working on what she can do. Rishma, of course, Miss Daliwa, gotta love her to pieces. My friend Kat as well. I don't want to really offend or like think I'm missing anyone, but I have to. And if I have done, sorry, love you all to pieces. Sorry if I've missed you. Maria, who I've met through when I was working at my last job. Even yeah, like I said, it's just like so hard. It's just so hard to come up with so many of these females, because I'm fortunate. I'm one of those who've grown up, and my sisters, my females in my family. But when you really think about the struggle in a sense of where the females come from to where we are today. Because I was watching what was that recent documentary I was watching was it on Netflix? I can't remember where it was, but it was basically just explaining how we've come to, like, how women have come from where they are to now. That was it. Amend on Netflix, right? Okay. Which is hosted by Will Smith. There's like one particular I think it's like the last 2 or 3 cover like the struggle of women and the importance of the 14th Amendment. Sorry. So when you look into the case of what they do, they give birth. They do a lot. I'm not gonna lie. So my shout out is officially to all you women, because women, you definitely are inspiring, as well as you can be human and be a completely, totalitarian and destructive of everything you do. Everyone, if you know me, I try to play this fair. I am going to keep this fair, because there is some foul, sour things you do out there. I'm not going to lie. Some of you know what you're doing and you're wrong for it. Same thing goes for the males. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but just saying it's foul. But to all of those who are, I don't think I would have been half the person I was today, or had the ability to communicate as well as I have done, without women being a very intricate part of it all. So that's also another highlight, guys. If you really want to learn how to keep conversation up, if you're not the grumpy silent type, which would be quiet, don't want to hear nothing, really speak to your woman, man, for real. Because if women do talk, then just have the conversation, man. Just don't back yourself into a corner too much on both parties.
True that, but at the same time, females just want you to listen. They don't want you to talk. They just want you to listen. They don't want you to put your 2 cents in. They just want you to listen, especially if they have a bad day. They just want you to listen.
Well, that's a general stereotype, because once again, it depends on the partner. I suppose, like with anyone, which is something I learned the hard way. But I'll say it's a hard way. I don't think that really suits it, because when you really think about how conversations are, right? Just even in general, because you can have a habit of talking and thinking you're right, and I've come across this, and this person said this, and this information has come from that, and I've experienced this, and that's one part of it all. But the intricate part, which makes it all kind of come together, and is the listening part. So regardless, like the same way women like, oh yeah, I want you to listen, but then how many times have you heard, or we say heard because this is the stuff that's pushed in front of us. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. But you say, oh yeah, well, I'm talking to him and he doesn't, he's not listening, but he's listening, but he's not responding, and he never has the right answer. He never has whatever. So now you think to yourself, well, okay, well, what's right and what's enough? The reality of the situation is are you having a conversation, or are you in a relationship or dictatorship in certain cases of the word? Because I'm not going to lie to you. Like, some people say, oh, I shouldn't ask for you to have to keep on doing stuff or repetitively ask you to do anything. Then as stupid as may sound, that's what rotors are for. If you need one in your household, then have one. You shouldn't be arguing over like who does the hoovering, who does cleaning. Like, oh, I haven't had to tell you wash your dish. That should be on there. Like, literally, if it has to be like a workplace, and you want it to make it look pretty, there's loads of art right now. Everyone's on this Corona stuff. I'm sure someone on Etsy has something like, please remember to clean and wash the dishes. In some little like picture with like some birds washing their hands, in a bird bath. I don't know. Right. It's just a curveball. It's just something to throw out there. So all I'm saying is you are right on the jesting side of things. Like, oh yeah, they want you to just listen. They don't want you to talk. But that's also if what you're talking doesn't apply to the situation, which in turn, right? And that's why I also think this is where communication does break down a bit. So it's like, I just want you to listen to what I've gone through for my day. Okay, fine. I will listen to you about what you've gone through that day. How do you want me to apply what gets put into where? Do you want to just tell me about how this person's been like this, and I had this and this happen, and this happened, and da da da? So if you're then just going to turn around and end of it, but it's okay, honey. It's, you know, it's just one of those things. It happens. Well, yes, you're going to spark a fuse because someone, a different situation, same principles is one of the things that you can't value what's going to hurt someone compared to how it's going to hurt someone else, right? On a general basis of emotions. So I don't know. For me, I just think it's like, it depends what relationship you're in. Sometimes you can find actually you are talking to your partner. It does help. Sometimes speaking to someone who's enabling you to see the bigger picture behind everything. It's not to take away from where you feel, but sometimes it's just like, well, look, what benefit is a one-way stream when it kind of comes to communication? Because now who's trying to live up to the dream and standards of everything else? But once again, not taking away from it, like 100% shout out to women. I mean, the same way I think, Black History Month, yes, I guess I'm not going to get too deep into that, but do we really need a month to celebrate what's amazing? Same way, why do you need one day to celebrate your love and appreciation of your other partner? But we're still young. I'll say we're still young in this kind of thing. So it's all right. That's me done. Sorry.
No, I feel
What about you,
though.
though? What about you? Who inspired you? Who inspired you?
I would say my grandmother, rest in peace. She passed away last year. My mother, my grandmother, she basically the matriarch of the family. Little history. She was the first Black woman to work for AT&T back in the days. She was just awesome, just full of wisdom, compassion. Anytime her sons or daughters were in hard trouble, they always moved back into the house. So there was always a place to stay at home, to get your stuff together, to move back out into the world. So I would say my grandmother, and then my mother too, raising two boys on her own for most of her life. She would tell me stories of, she would make enough money just to have like food on the table for us. And at the same time, she would make herself like a ketchup sandwich for lunch for work. You know what I mean? So sacrificing a lot to make our life better. So I would say those are the two significant women in my life that made an impact on my life. And then like just from the outside woman wise, I would have to say probably Coretta Scott King for me a little bit, because I can't imagine, to lose your husband like that,
Mm.
and then at the same time still be that rock for the kids and still keeping his legacy alive.
Yeah, it's true.
you know.
True.
And the same thing with Betty Shabazz too. I would put her in the same category again. You losing your husband in that way and still
Mm.
try to be that rock for the family. Be that matriarch of the family. And just keep their husband legacy alive, but still raise their kids into an environment where they can still succeed in life.
Mm. No, I feel that state still, but yeah, and this is what goes back to my whole thing. That's where my cop out comes into it. When you get when you got a good one, yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing, to be honest. And no, yes, I'm kind of leaning on the fact that certain men out here gone a bit too lazy. Just don't like your pedestal being rocked. Like, are you
Yeah.
too emotional? I'm like, all right, cool, dog. Well, I'd happily rather deal with my emotions than go, put my head through a wall. But come see, come sir. So what else is up? What else is going on?
Not much, man, but I'm gonna touch on a little subject, man, because I feel like, especially when it comes to masculinity, what do you feel about, is it okay for men to cry? Because I know there was like a video circulating when you had the football players having this conversation. I think it was Chad Johnson, and I forgot the other two guys. And it's like, where can I go to have a heart-to-heart conversation with another man without feeling that devaluing my masculinity? And then you see Ultra Cinco start crying, and then
Mm,
you see different posts like, where's the place where men can go to be vulnerable? So I'm gonna throw it back to you, man. What are your feelings on that?
Can men cry? You know what, son? The honest answer to that is, son. You know what they know. You hear me? Nah, I'm playing. I'm far from really hardcore played with that. But all jokes aside, my honest answer to that is no, it's not. However, like with most things in society, or what we base into, is it fair to say, like the laws of the jungle? To see a man cry is seen as a sign of weakness. And I can't tell you when or where that was established and why it became a current metric to things. But I suppose you can also look back into the savagery of history just in general, or what is known and what's being told of. Personally, I think it's like, look, anyone to question you for feeling like how you're feeling for whatever reason it may be, like if it's even a movie, some people might get triggered from a movie. Some people don't even cry at like funerals. They might cry solemnly to themselves because, you know, that's where they feel comfortable in their own sense to do so. So for me, is it a question of your masculinity? Nah, fam. Because I'm telling you this, so if someone's gonna, because also now it then comes down to a checklist of when it's you're allowed to cry. You know, oh, your mother's, your parents, or so someone that's close to you has passed away. Yeah, you have the right to cry. But then even then, there's like a list of things. Like I mean, if your dog passes away and you're really close to your dog, ask any real animal lover. You know, if some people are like, oh, why are you crying? It's just your dog. You know, some people will take that attitude to it. Then it could be to the case, oh, that's not even like, that's like your cousin. You weren't even close to them. Why are you getting emotional? Why are you crying? You didn't even know the brother. But it's like, well, now I'm thinking about all the times I could have met this person, or this person may have reached out. So unfortunately, there comes a line of checklists and such. But there is a stigma that kind of comes with it. You know, that kind of teasing notion to it. So I personally think it's unnecessary. If someone feels to cry, then so let them be that, because I will tell you this for free. Even if someone, I'll put out like I might see a movie, I might see something, I get involved, I get invested into it. Right. So I might shred a little tear, like, oh shit, man, that really pulled on a heartstring. I know certain people that will watch like sporting documentaries and, you know, other real trials and tribulations, or, you know, watching things like 13, you know, or, you know, finding out like so much more about what's really going on with the world, and you can't really help but like, you know, shed a tear for some of these people. But then on the same flip side of it is, if someone wants to push it to my face and it's going to get physical, if they think that I'm going to back away or not stand my ground, or, oh yeah, you're going to cry, and it's like, no, bro, I ain't going to cry. I'm going to try to talk it out. But if there's no other option, then I guess we're fighting. You know, but that's where I come from. That's the way that I kind of look at the whole situation. But I just think it's unfair. Like you just said, a lot of people don't have to go to special places and around people that they can feel comfortable to be their emotional selves. And funny enough, now talking about, not trying to add a little dark side to like the Women's Month, but there's some cases where women are like, wow, like if my man cries, he's seen as a pom pom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. It's as simple as, no man should cry. What you cry, you know, what you're crying for. You know, it's a whole bunch. And I didn't mean to put on an accent. That was just completely unintentional. No, I wasn't directing at that stigmas and such. I won't get in trouble. But I am saying is that there is a very bad there's a very significant stigma behind it all. And if you feel that way, and then you wonder why that in certain cases men have these really big emotional outbursts that can turn into anger and other things and go off a chain, that's because there's only so much feelings that I believe you can repress and reprise before it becomes a danger zone. 100 becomes a danger zone. But I don't think it questions your masculinity in any way, shape, or form. Would I happily say, oh, that makes you more human than anything else? I'd say is this: it makes us more human by today's modern standards. Right. We're not having to fight other people like for a piece of land, or having to stay vigilant because we're being hunted by predators who are animals. We've gone from that stage of life now. So the way that even our body's reacting with things like fear and anxiety and things of that nature, as studies have shown, that's obviously putting on more weight for us because we're feeling these things, but we don't have a way to exert said energy. And the same thing kind of goes down into it now. And funny enough, I find it quite hilarious because for how many years have we been told, or for how many decades, men aren't sensitive enough and you're not in touch with your feelings. And now all of a sudden we get in touch with our feelings. Then now it's a whole big stigma and a whole bunch of things that are thrown around to it. So that's my take on it, to be honest.
No. I feel you on that. I think that's the one thing too is that for the longest time, we've told to just keep it to ourselves. Like hide our frustrations, hide our vulnerability, because if we show that, that's shows a level of weakness, and that's been handed to generation. And if you think about it, you understand in that current climate that they lived in back in the days, they had to, because if not, they would have been, killed or lynched. So, it was a reason behind that. But at the same time, what that does, it curates this, at that time, they didn't have a label for it. Depression, mental health, there was no label for it. And that's the one thing is like when we live in this world, we need label on things. We need words for things. Because if we don't put a word on it, we can't understand it. You feel me? You don't in some parts.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I suppose. And the only reason why I say that is, sorry to cut, but it's like the English language is the most bastardized language on the planet. It's known, right? Everything of what we're speaking right now is actually one of the most complex languages to learn on this planet, right? For us to learn other languages just goes to show you how how complex and bastardized it is. So, for instance, in Europe, you'll find that most countries, most people can speak several European languages. Right. Well, it'll vary where you go from where you go from, but they do tell you that certain languages have similar tones and phrases used. So when I'm talking about labels for everything, no, because even with, like, for instance, the Japanese language. So shout out to all you anime and manga lovers. Like I've watched it with subtitles in the language, and there's little bits I pick up, but I still struggle with the more complex sentences. And the reason why is, if you listen to the way that the language, if you pick up the certain tones in the language that's used, say for instance in the program you're watching, right? Watch it with many foreign films. If you can recognize certain little patterns and words that get used, and you see how the person has broken it down into subtitles, what we've said as a sentence is a lot more complex than what they've expressed with what they have. So I guess it's like, in a way, you do need for certain reasons, without getting to the matrix with it all. But I say with the case of, do we need labels for everything? No, not specifically. But anyways, I don't mean to digress with that.
No, it's all good, bro. I feel you on that point. But what I was like, everything needs a label because it needs a definition to it. You know what I mean? Right. When you talk about anxiety, depression, all those different terminologies, there's always, you need a meaning behind it. Because if you get a meaning behind it, then you kind of understand, like, you know what? I understand that. Like, for example, like understanding like any vaccine or anything or medicine you take, right? You want to know what's in the, what's this medicine, what is it going to do for me? Now you understand, all right, this is the symptom I have, and these are the things that's going to help me with those symptoms. You know what I mean? And in our psyche, in our mental state, is that we need a word to label something, and then to have a definition for it, and then to say, you know what, I got that. That's what I have. This is what I have. So now that I have this, how am I going to deal with it? And I think back in those days, there wasn't a terminology to label that. You know what I mean? It was, you're just crazy, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, all right. I can see where you're going with it. All right, cool. I'll run with it.
You know what I mean? And so we didn't understand that for the longest time, and now everything has labels, and now we kind of understand it, and so now it kind of resonates. Now it's just, again, getting out of that space of feeling I'm by myself, I'm alone, I'm vulnerable, I'm frustrated, and I don't got nowhere else to talk to. And so I want to give a quick shout out to like the World Dads Network and the Dear Fathers, because they create these Zoom calls. They're two different groups. but they're all about helping Black fathers. But they both create like these Zoom meetings where Black fathers come and just air out what they're feeling inside.
Yeah, and what I'd say to that is that's now touching into a very interesting subject as well, because the key thing that you said, I feel vulnerable, I feel alone, I don't feel I have anyone that I can really talk to about things. And this really does go back down to how we are social animals, regardless of what way we try, whatever you want to try and do. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can go on that kind of monk mission and self-discovery of self, and then, you know, you go off into the mountains, but eventually most of them will find themselves back within society or back within a group of people, because like with most things, it's like it's in our natural innate senses. So like we said numerous times, even with technology, I mean, our biggest problem is I mean, technology works because you're all the way over in the States, I'm all the way over here in the UK, so we can have this conversation because of this technology. But and also you can interact with people through it. I guess it's like when you're literally, say for instance, as you were saying in the beginning, of like about YouTube and also about Instagram, and how, you know, people just stuck in what other people are, but it's not like you're interacting like we are. No, we're not having a conversation like we are. You're literally just posting, and someone's posting this, someone's tweeting that. But the truth of the matter is, I guess it's maybe because being born in the time that I was, we had more chances to integrate socially, and there were people that didn't. I'm not saying that was never not the case, but there was more of a, you'll be seen more as a bit strange if you weren't interacting with a said kind of group. And I think that's what's kind of happened, especially when later on in life, when you hear so many stories where, you know, partners are like, man, it's on both sides, so both are guilty, or whatever pronoun is guilty, where you're like, yeah, you can't be with those people. If we're together, I don't like this. I don't like this friend. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. They've got to go if we're going to make this work. Or when people get together, they maybe have a kid. Yes, obviously they're focusing on their child's life. That's the main kind of thing. There might be people who don't have children, and they feel, oh, well, you know, that now there's this whole kind of stigma of, oh, well, we bet, you know, they've got kids, we can't expect them to go out and do the same thing. But rather than trying to adapt and base and see how they can still integrate and still come together, what people are just used to now is this 2.5 children lifestyle, which is sold to you like, oh, once you marry, and then you make new friends if you do, or, you know, oh, you know, I've met this new woman that I've met in a, which is all great, but which once again kind of, without making it to turn negative, which what just goes to show that like you will find someone else somewhere within something else that you're doing, but it doesn't mean that they don't have to be a part of your network as such. The same way, like I think the best way to look at this without, and hopefully it doesn't come across wrong, look at people like Toolshed, right? So when you go into, or your shed, right? So you got, you think, imagine if you got a garden, or if you don't have garden, but you just, you know, you got your toolbox, whatever. Think about a place where you store these items. You're not going to use a screwdriver to hammer something in, right? The same way you're not going to use a saw to go and cut your grass. You can, but it's a bit much, right? So it's once again, it's like, but they're all still part of your toolbox or your shed or wherever you're storing these things, or your cupboard, whatever it may be. But everything in that place has its use, not necessarily its place, but it has its use. So you don't have to always be like, come together like, you know, like Voltron or some, you know, massive robot clicking together, and now you got something, you know, amazing, and this is the person that you want to be. But that's the way that I kind of look at it on a grand sense of things, is that we need to start remembering that it's okay to have these conversations and to start becoming more sociable again. And also, I suppose in certain cases, accepting people for their flaws. If it's something that they're repetitively doing, then okay, there might be something there. But we're now in a place where, like you're saying, in a sense of masculinity, these people not having anyone to talk to, is because look at your network. Like, real talk, think about the friends that you did have, like, and people do change, they evolve, everyone goes through their lives and their stages and such, and some people are not going to be there forever, which is a lesson I learned the real hard way. And people can just disappear, be massive piece of your puzzle and not in a complete dependent state, but they're just really that much of a significant person, and they're still obviously living their life, they're doing things, and then they're gone, right? Like, how do you deal and how do you come together with that? And don't get me wrong, I'm saying this is very kind of blankety, because there are a lot of people, like you said, I suppose, in a sense of labels, but those people who have social anxiety, or never figured out how to interact with people, or there's certain things that have happened to them to force them into a position where they've just, then it's never going to be the way for them. So I feel for all of these people together, and I'm not saying be a hero and accept all of these people, because that's just much of a shock than anything. But I believe sometimes just having your feelers out is a key thing. And I suppose it's like, even like you do all the time, or when you do from time to time. And for the other people that I know, as everyone knows, that I've gone through a very tough time since last year, like a lot of other people, but that near-death experience really set me off completely. But you got people that will reach out and say, yo, how you doing? You okay? What's going on? How you feeling? How you da-da-da-da? So it's little things like that, I suppose, is the other thing for it all. And that's where, like, to the Real Dads Network, as you just mentioned, it is the Real Dads Network, isn't it?
Yeah,
Real Dads Network. It's like having things like that. Like, shout out to Marv Radio, who did something similar, like the was it King Circle, he called it, and literally just something he sent, he was like, he might be interested. Ended up speaking to a whole bunch of like brothers, never met them before, other than Marvel, who I know, but, and everyone just kind of just did a check-in. How are you doing? What you going through? Like, and there was a lot of emotional moments there. People that have never really even felt they had the right to speak about their emotions. And these are all, people like Black people, really,
right.
or just people in general. And I think that's also another key thing, is that we've been so typecasted by our own social premises, that we think, oh, women are the ones who always deal with their feelings. They're the ones who do all the chatting. I ain't got the time for that. Men don't gossip. First of all, guys, I'm gonna tell you this for a fact: men gossip hard, for real. And then when guys like, oh, James, you can't believe you're selling us down the route, bruh.
We do.
This ain't for you. We know what it is. I ain't saying what's said or what's discussed. Women, we're just saying it's like it's just one of those ones, right? Or no, and men who believe that same shit. But either way.
No, I feel you on that, bro. But I like that analogy you use with the tool, because the one thing I heard someone say that was kind of a little thought provoking to me is like, you have your home, and your home is usually you have like three main people that's in your circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your car and you drive. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. And so you pick somebody up and you have that connection with them. And then, you're going a certain way, but you're dropping them off on a certain location.
Mm-hmm.
And then you move on. And so even though you may not see that person ever again, but at the same time, you built that moment in time, that connection with that person at time, that is, that will be a part of you. But at the same time, I'm going to throw that question to you. How do you break down that emotional from the logical part out of it? You know what I mean? What I mean by is, everybody comes in your life for a certain purpose. And then when that purpose happens, and then you go your separate ways, how do you kind of separate the two? Because sometimes what happens is, in our mindset, we kind of get emotionally attached to that past and not let it go, and to realize it is what it was at that time, and then being at that time.
That's actually a really good question. Well, first of all, it depends on if you believe in purposes in the first place. I mean, that's debatable. Because I've definitely gone off a lot of this modern spirituality stuff. I mean, to be fair with you, I was always my quest has always been to the roots of spirituality, where it started from, which is the motherland. And to those of you who still don't know what the motherland is, it is Africa, or what was being renamed as Africa. But this is the whole thing. It's just like, how do you separate the emotional from the practicality of it all?
Is knowing that at the end of the day, you have somebody that played a role in your life, and you never forget that. But at the same time, you realize that people go their separate ways. And what happens is, you may lose that person's number. God forbid something happened to that person and something happens to you. But at the same time, you still have to live your life. You don't forget the importance that person played in your life. but at the same time, don't let that emotionally hinder you from just going on with your life. You know what I'm saying?
That's look. Unless you're a narcissist, or unless you're definitely someone who can just do this with their feelings,
Right.
it's near impossible for there not to be some form of emotional reaction. For me personally, I think that's too much to ask for anyone. Real talk is it supposed to be easy? No. Like, in truth, it's because, like you said, it's like it's almost like a dependency. There is a dependency that's on that. This person's come to help fulfill or fill something on your day to day, or doing something. And it's the same way like a business deal going through or not going through, or that type of relationship. You're gonna get in your emotions, like, regardless. But like you said, depending on how it happens, did this person betray you? You know, because you can look on that side of the spectrum. Was it a wrongdoing that was done to you? Or was it the fact, like you said, you've lost a number, this person's going for, they just decided to drift off and just cut ties? It can, especially depending on how long you've known this person, or some people it's just like, well, cool, we were in touch quite a lot. Now you haven't messaged me at all for a year. Okay, well, I see where we stand. Right. But then there's like a two-way field with that as well, because the other person could be like, oh, well, I'm going to stop messaging you because I feel like I message you all the time, which is probably never the case in a lot of situations, but maybe it is. Well, sorry, it can be either or of it. You can't separate it unless you're something special. And I don't mean that necessarily in a good way. I think then maybe you might be, if you're doing any job dealing with the public, I think you're dealing with maybe complaints, you might be right, because you could just brush everything off. Like, no, it's like, man, I don't care. Care is what it is. You don't go get, I don't get upset over these things. It is, you know. All jokes aside, no, there is no, I personally believe there is no real way to separate it. And it might not be immediate, it might be later on. But are you complacent? That's the question I want to ask. Sorry for the bang on the desk, people, but I have to, like, for the dramatic effect. Are you complacent though? Because you've grown with someone, you've had a new experience with someone, right? And even if it might be just for the fact of conversations of things that you're going through to that day, I mean, are you just going to stay in your consistent where you are, or you're not going to learn and grow in so many ways? When they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, it's like, I don't really believe in that anymore. Because especially as younger generation are becoming older, our brains are more wired into picking certain things up a lot quicker than our generations were beforehand. And it's going to keep going like that repetitively, right? So that's why I say, like, look, if you're gonna see it as ultimately it's always a bad thing and you felt wrong done, or it's always going to leave a little bit of like a little piece of you is going to be missing, then yeah, of course it is. You've had an emotional connection with someone. Regardless of what way we look at it, people, we have survived as a human race from before by these connections. Like, you can look into white science, or you can look into black science. You can just look into what's really in front of you, and you can see that it is because of these connections. It is because of the ways that we function, and that when you are moving into new areas, you're either going to clash with a new clan or you're going to join a new clan. So once you separate and you do whatever, as they say, parting is such sweet sorrow, it's really is true. So, I mean, yeah, so that's my take on it. I just personally, honestly don't believe that there is a real way to do that. There will always be some type of emotional backlash. But if you feel in a way, just take some time and breathe before you mess up someone else's life because this person did you wrong.
No, I feel you on that. I also want to touch on another subject. I don't know if you ever heard of this this phrase that's been put out a lot. You ever heard of the term imposter syndrome?
Imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
What's that? Are you an imposter?
Maybe I am.
Maybe you are. Right, what's this so much? So lay on to me. Huh?
Let me take.
You never had a beard before? That's not really your skin? Oh my God. God, I knew it.
No, but what I've learned is by going to these different groups is it's a term they use, dealing with like mental health, and basically is self-doubt. When you're in like a certain position and you feel like you're not good enough because you're the only person of a certain melanin or whatever you want to say.
Color.
There you go. and so you kind of self doubt yourself. You self doubt your potential, and so you kind of play this role of I'm here, but do I really deserve to be here? And
so you're not talking. So you're not talking about coconut syndrome. You're literally talking about something else completely, right? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's just, again, we use words to have some kind of definition to what people are feeling.
Right.
And this is the word that's kind of circulating right now, is the word imposter syndrome, which may applies to like your relationship, you know, thinking like, am I a good husband? Am I a good father? You know, it's more analyzing self-doubt. So what do you think about that?
So basically you don't believe that you're either, like, say for instance, you don't believe you deserve to be in this position, or you're thinking that you have to play another role in order to fit into where you are, essentially.
Right, because you're not in your own skin. Because again, you know, going back to like, you know, being like the only black person in a white dynamic field.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I see what you. So like, oh well, bruh, I've been Mr. Imposter for a long time. What you talking? That's how was you supposed to be getting jobs? How was you supposed to be getting a job? No, serious talk here, fam. Like
that, you understand where I'm coming from right now. You know,
I'm probably, I suppose any future, if I have to ever go back into that field of work, if you ever do come across this, then yeah, I'm probably gonna make this my clip so it's easier for you to find, so you're not shocked. Yes, when I'm sitting in front of you, I am going to speak in the most correct ways that I can. And I, for my probation period, will do as may be. I will do what you need. Oh, yes, sir. No, sir. Free, like, sir. I will do that. Real talk. But when it comes to probation, and I've got my free strike protection, I got my company benefits, I got my discount if you offer it a discount, then I'm starting to act real me. Like, well, obviously not me to the fullest extent, and I do say that with jest, because there's certain people that like literally do, like, it's no different. But yes, and do you know what the reason it is like, it depends on how you look at it, because this is, I'm guessing there's a deeper, I know you're going to the deeper side of it all, rather than generally myself is just like, well, okay, well, I know what you're expecting, and I know what's weighing against me already, whether it's experience, whether it's color, whether I'm just going to be a statistic that you need just to fill up your numbers. So would the routes of progression become harder because you want me to keep me in a certain bullpen? Because if I'm doing my job, I will do my job to my best of my abilities. There's no question about that at all. But the reality, the thing is that even when you go into a job and into a day-to-day role, you've got to play like you're someone else anyways. It's very rare you find, especially in my day, well, not say, it's kind of wrong to say, because certain people take a job because they want to take a job, and I say that's one of the worst things that you should do, because that's just it's a negative steep. But it's very rare that you're going to find a job where, even if it is what they will call the base level, like your retail or cleaning or whatever it may be seen as, or sales. Yeah. Even if you're going in on that level, if there's a company that, you know what, your line manager and your boss aren't assholes or dickheads, and yes, I apply that globally, all pronouns, like literally, if you're not an arsehole or a dickhead, yeah, then it slightly makes your job a little bit easier. As don't me wrong, each company's got targets and things that they need to hit and things that need to be expected. Stakeholders, there's you know, the board, there's a whole bunch of people that, you know, depend on, you know, us at the bottom in order to keep these cogs working, right? Right. But if you've got the right buffers, or even if you have got the right kind of like CEO, the right people that just like, look, okay, we know we're going to get you your money, and we know what we need as ground staff, but we're going to treat them. We are literally going to go out of our way to treat everyone like humans, give them the best opportunities, allowing you people to come in, keep things fresh, keep things exciting, you know, in the best way that they can, have the right support mechanisms. Then something that you would call, like most people would be like minimum wage or base wage or living wage, can still find a value in it, because they're finding value in people within their situations, right? Right. But then if you're taking something that you're not getting any of that value or worth out of, and then you're also having to fit a role, outside of that and you're already having to play, it's going to be literal physical health for you, right? So that's my standpoint to it, like my personal standpoint on the case of it's like, look, so many times I can't literally be this person who I'm talking to right now in front of like all of my peers or to the customers or to my, because it's too much for them. Like, and I'm giving, this is still a kind of watered down version because, you know, you have to be careful of YouTube algorithms and whatnot. I think we might have to start doing Patreon, real hard conversations, you know, just going ham. Maybe something to view in the next few months. But yeah, no. But talking into the regards to someone feeling completely like they're in a Alice in Wonderland situation, like they literally have fallen down a rabbit hole and feel that they have to fill a particular role just to fit by society standards. I've had these conversations with loads of people that I know in my inner circle and a lot of the people that I know don't like to fit into these roles. However, we know what's to be expected. But to those people that feel that that's what you've got to fulfill, then now I understand even more so why there's so much, like, you know, so much psychological disruption behind living your life. They will talk about living your best life. How are you going to do that if literally your whole life is you acting and playing a role? What is that voice in your head saying to you? You know, it's like, I don't know about yourself. Well, yourself, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that voice in my head talk a lot, and I have to sometimes talk to the voice, not verbally out, but that voice needs to talk to that voice in my head to say, "Yo, what's going on, son? Man, come on, calm down. You don't need that. Pull yourself away," kind of thing. What we use is your equation. So whatever's going on inside is the formula, and then boom. Then it comes in. So that's the reason why you find if you think, oh, I had the perfect thing to say, but I just couldn't say it right. I said, but that's because this and this isn't connecting in unison. But I do find that it's very heartbreaking to hear that people are literally physically feeling that they have to live this life of an imposter and not being able to be their free selves. But isn't that also what the I want to say it as well. I really want to say it. In fact, I was going to say it. No, I forget. Isn't that what the alphabet community is all about?
Yeah. No. You're absolutely right. And I think the one thing about that is, you know, is about knowing your value and knowing your purpose. And I feel like, you know, when, you know, again, going back to community and being a part of a crew to give you that self-assurance that, yeah, you deserve this position. You bust your ass. You know what I mean? This is you. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. And in this world, I think we all need that. We need that self-assurance that, you know what? Yeah, I deserve to be in this position. I bust my butt like everybody else. I did what I need to do, you know, and it goes back to self-worth. And I think that's the one thing about men is just we as Black men, we don't value our self-worth. We try to, you know, find self-worth in other things instead of just looking at the individual. You know what I mean?
But don't we, not even just as men, but I'm not taking away from it, but isn't it like isn't that like so many of us? Yeah. But that's quite interesting though, without getting too conspiracy theory-ish. That's a really interesting concept though, isn't it? Is it, you know, is it because we're easy to control because we do believe a lot less in our self-worth? Because think of it, right? I mean, right now, COVID, I mean, there's some people out here looking amazing. They got their COVID bodies are on fleek, yeah? But I'm one of those, unfortunately, who are not on fleek at all. And the road to recovery is going to be difficult.
Right.
But it's something that I'm interested in doing. But then I ask myself, it's like, okay, well, are you doing this to be fit and healthy, really? Or are you just doing this because you're conscious about your body and how people receive your body and how you look, because that's how it's based in society? The same way you look at it in the sense of like, I suppose it's different if you've been one of them like people like because I have no way of it. Some of the guys that I usually chill with, they some good looking brothers, man. Real good DNA. Most of them got some type of suave or something that, you know, girls are just, oh my God, I mean it. Oh my God. Interested, swooning, real talk. Me, I was a problem. I was a struggle. I was a hustle. I was saying to my boy Tete the other day, and also Frank LaFunk, who we're going to have as well. Interview will be dropping in April. you know, just that they decided to do a quick call on a Discord thing, and I actually said to them, it was like, "Oh man, we love, you know, like Eric was saying, yeah, man, I love your interviews because the fact is, it's like, you know, you really connect to the people. There's like proper laughing and there's proper conversation there, which you don't hear of, you know, you don't get a lot." And I was like, yeah, but that's, I said, also, I think that's, and I said, you know, that's actually, you know, you're right. You know, everyone, you say it, you know, a lot of people do, and I'm, you know, I'm very grateful for the feedback. I'm very humbled by it. But then I also thought about it as well. I said, you know, that kind of explains why I always mess up with girls, bro, because it's like for them, like I go past, because you know, usually there's that courting thing, like there's that whole kind of like, you know, well, I'm gonna play rough, I'm gonna play mystique, yeah, no, cuz no, girl, you know, like, hey, no, you know what, I gotta go in it, like, but I've just rung you, like, I gotta go in it. Yeah, she wants me in it, man. She wants me, hey, bro, that's the coolest thing, you know what I'm saying? Or however you play it, wherever you are, right? Or you just literally just look that good couple Tinder like Bumble pictures. The next thing you know,
Right.
swipe. All right. But whereas with me, like I literally, because I like talking like this, I rather just general conversation. I don't know nothing about you. Let's just talk. If it's not the case, not to get to know you, if it's like it's a bit creepy asking these questions. Well, let's just talk about whatever. Especially that's why the smoking area and the clubs are some of the best places to ever go, because by the time you've had a few to drink, and if people are drinking and everyone's having like a little, like, you know, cigarette, eventually there's going to be some conversations that are going to happen. Someone's going to say something, because it's just social. You just like be like, oh no, that ain't it. And then all of a sudden you're on a way. But then with me, I probably go past that kind of level and go straight to the friend zone, because they're actually, you know what, I like talking to him, and I don't want to mess this up. And it's just, I honestly solidly believe that's the case with me, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like when it goes without trying, because I got lost down fucking bad memory lanes and whatever. Like, oh my God, who am I? Who am I? But this is that's I said, but that's the whole metric of it all, in a sense of bringing it back to the self-worth, right? And it goes down to that, because I look at all of that stuff I've had to come up with, right? And even though you might get called out, your friends be like, you're cute for me, I think is kind of like a weird one to be in, because it can be something that works for you, or it's just a nice way of saying, yeah, but if there's someone just more attractive, which is always my, you know, that's the case of it. But this brings it back down to self-worth. Then you look on the female scale of it all, you know, at one minute it's all good to be, and once again, I'm starting to become unfiltered with what I'm saying. People can say what they want about me. I'm being honest. Most people late. At one point, it was all about snow bunnies, and I mean that literally in a sense of like big peaks to little peaks, but straight all the way down. If you get what I'm saying, and just as white as snow. And once again, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. Porcelain beauties, do you think? Women, love you all. That's all I'm saying, right? I ain't one of them types. Women, you're beautiful, wherever you are, wherever your case is. Right. But that's what I'm saying. At one point, that was the end thing. Then all of a sudden, it's, you know, now, oh, you know, we want to have the injections, right? We want to get the lips, my lips to be fuller, or my backside to be bigger. I want I want my waist to be super thin and just pow. And shout out to like all of the hip hop, especially through the 2000 plus area, because that really pushed that narrative, especially with them girls in them videos. Yeah, man. Yeah, real talk. Gotta love all of you girls. King Magazine's finest, if you're ever into that.
Those were the days, man. Oh my God. I would get like every month. Couldn't wait for that King magazine to drop, man.
King, Double XL, and Vibe.
Maxim. Because I remember the first Maxim cover I had was with what's her name? Vidal Guerrero.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. Me, it was more we had Maxim over here as well, but mine was more FHM, man, because especially from that, they had this section written by this lady who actually turned out to be a lesbian who eventually got married to a guy anyways, which was it's brilliant in its own story. But she always had this, like, these articles like written by women, like their experience in the sense of, like, you know, sexual techniques in the bedroom and helping that kind in the bedroom and all of that kind of stuff. And like her stuff was like literally like real talk gold. Like, wow, you're into that, that's kind of gold. But once again, it goes back, and this is just the material sense of self-worth. Forget the case of how you feel as a person. And that's where I feel with, like I said, with men, it can really become a thing. Do I have a place? do I, you know, if there's so many other people dying in the world and I'm living, but I'm not really contributing. When you get into these thoughts, you know, what am I doing here? Why am I even existing? What is my purpose to it? Especially when you see is like, well, by this age you should have this, and by this age you should have that, and by this age you should do this, by this age you should have that, by this age, and that's what's all like that's told for me from your elders, that's what's being told from you from the outside. So when it comes to like especially super creatives, like say for instance, and I will use myself in this, is you get to a place where you're just like, well, on one hand I need to create to bring these things, that's the bait that's going to bring people in, because I don't believe I fit into the swooning type, right? So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this, but then certain things have to take a back burner. But because these things I'm doing by myself, because there isn't a lot of support, and not saying support from people, but that financial support, right? Then how am I supposed to get to, you know, how am I supposed to get the material things, the car, the clothes, the money, the cars, the clothes, and all these I got either way, right? And also, no, I'm not condoning the person who sung the thing, but it's still a dope lyric. I don't care what anyone says, but it's true, right? It is the value of like, well, who and what am I really doing here in the first place? Considering that all I'm trying to do out here is win, and I'm not really feel like I'm doing that too well.
Right, and I think the thing is too is how do you define win? To me, I think defining win is to be in a place where, you know, I guess I'm just a simple kind of dude where when you're comfortable, when you're all your bills are taken care of and you could just do what you want to do. You know,
right.
You don't need the big car, you don't need the big house. That's your perception of win. And again, people wins are totally different, you know what I mean? And I think that's the big thing. And overall, we put too much pressure on ourselves that, you know, we got to get that bag. If we don't get that bag, then our life doesn't have purpose. No, it does have purpose. It's just having other ways, you know, whether if you're a garbage man or a janitor or anything, you're bringing value to the world. You know, as simple as as I can explain it, that's how I see it. I know other people see it in a different way, but whatever you're doing in life, whether you seem as minute to someone else, it's huge. And I feel like if we kind of put it into that perspective, I think it would be a little bit better for our mental health and just overall great discussion with people that's around us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I definitely do.
And then also, you know, I think what we should do is, you know, because this is Women History Month, International Woman, I think we got to give love to the female MC before we, you know, end the show, man. So tell me, like, give me at least 5 of your underrated female MC.
Underrated? Come on. I can't say underrated at all, man. Nah, man, that's not fair at all, fam. Like, that's not fair. Because I want to say, because I mean, to be honest with you, like, just because the ignorant don't know, don't show, don't care about a young female MC young female MC growing up in South Central whilst trying to drink her juice in the hood. Shout out to the Wayans brothers, man. You guys are literally, you guys are classic, bro. The world wouldn't be the same without you guys. But no, but it goes into the same way of, like I'm saying, on that basis of it all. I don't think they're underrated. Like, female MCs have been up there knocking boots for time. But look, I'd say top. I can't even say 5 because that's unfair. Maybe top 5, but I'll name 5 that are definitely on the list. I'll definitely say.
Don't even give me top 5. Just give me random.
I'll give you Jean Grey, shout out, like Rhapsody, yeah, no, just killer MC. I have to shout out Missy, crazy MC. Have to shout out MC Light. Have to shout out even Queen Latifah, because that's queen number 1. Even Roxanne Shante, sorry, should I say rather? Boy, no, I'm sorry, but real talk, just shout out to all the female MCs. Real, like, y'all you literally killing the game out here. And also a bit of an early shout out. Hopefully we can draw her to the podcast, who knows. But to Tahis Lona, I believe that I pronounced that right, or Tahis Lona. Yeah, so definitely like some great, and there's great talent that's on the work up in its way. But okay, what about you then, bro? You want to put me on the spot?
I'm just gonna say one name that should be getting a little bit more love when you go into like the lineage of hip hop and her influence. Whether if you disagree or you agree, I would have to put Bahamadia in that category too. Just
Okay.
lyricism, as a lyricist, and just her unique style of her flow. Because the one thing that Guru would say is about the voice. And when you hear, you don't even have to see what she looked like, but when you hear her, you're like, oh yeah, that's Bahamadia.
All right, yeah, okay, I'll give that. But then if we're gonna throw that in, we might as well also throw in Miss Lauryn Hill. Don't want to forget that. About to probably get shot out in these streets.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, but just real talking, and to just to everyone, like, if you tuned in and stayed on to this amount of time, thanks very much. Like, comment, and subscribe as per usual, and we will be up on Spotify soon. So if you can either listen on Spotify now, you can also go check out the YouTube, or if you're on YouTube right now, you can check out the Spotify if it helps. Whatever, play it, share it, care it. We like it. Hit the notification bell, and I'd also like to just say love to all the females out on the planet, and that is in whatever regards of pronouns. We're not looking to make it messy out here, but real talk, thanks for being you, like, as well. And for those who have pushed us, fed us, clothed us, kept us strong, been there to support us, or maybe you've been the complete polar opposite and made us who we are and what we needed to be. Sometimes you got to look at the trash and make it and see the little bits of treasure within inside of it all, man. But it's a No Name podcast. Make sure to check out the IAmHipHop magazine, which is now out. It's available on highcreativity.net website. Make sure you go check out That Is Not Now a Now. Make sure you check out his pod. Can't ever, not show love for him, showing love all the way back to us. And we will be back soon, as per usual.
Because we love you and you matter to us.
That's more him than now. Joking. We all love you, man. Don't get me out here. Won't mix up with this love stuff. No, man. Love is love. I don't know about no love. No, real talk.
Barney shit right now, man.
And funny enough, this is also probably a little future message. If you jumped onto this a bit later on, and this, funny enough, we've done something later, further along down the line, just know, like, this is what it is. Okay? Peace, love, and all that good stuff. One.